If you could fast forward and talk to your future self at 60, what do you think you'd regret the most? Would it be the chances you never took, the words you left unspoken, or all those precious moments you let slip away? Daniel had started to wonder about these questions more and more. He was a responsible guy, always doing what was expected of him. But lately he felt the weight of time pressing down. Birthdays came and went, and with each one, the fear of missed opportunities grew stronger. He couldn't shake the feeling that life was moving a whole lot faster than he was. Then one day, a conversation with a wise friend promised to reveal the regrets most people carry into their later years, and more importantly, how he could avoid them before it was too late. Daniel's days were a total blur of routines and responsibilities. He'd wake up before dawn, make coffee, and dive into his overflowing inbox before the sun had even risen. At work, he was dependable, moving from one meeting to the next, always focused on the task at hand. His evenings were spent paying bills, fixing things around the house, and making sure everyone else's needs were met. On the outside, Daniel's life looked steady and secure. Anyone would say he had it all together, but inside he felt a growing emptiness, a nagging sense that something truly important was missing. His old passions, things like painting and playing the guitar, had been pushed aside by the relentless demands of adulthood. Friends he once cherished had drifted away, their connections reduced to polite texts and missed calls. The world saw a man in control, but all Daniel felt was the quiet ache of deferred dreams and lost connections. Late at night, when the house was finally quiet, Daniel's mind would wander to the life he might have lived. He'd remember the dreams he'd set aside, that trip he never took, the business idea he never pursued, the novel he started but never finished. He thought of all the friends he'd lost touch with, the birthdays and reunions he'd missed because work always seemed more urgent. Even with his own family, Daniel sometimes felt like a stranger, present in body, but completely distracted in spirit. Regret started to creep in, whispering questions he couldn't ignore. What if I had just tried? What if I had made more time? The fear of running out of chances began to color his days, making him hesitant to try new things, or even reach out to the people he loved. He saw others his age living boldly, chasing their passions, and couldn't help but wonder if he'd already missed his window. So many people only realize what truly matters when it's too late, when the years have slipped by and all the what-ifs become permanent shadows. Would Daniel find the courage to change his path, or would he let regret define the rest of his story? One afternoon, feeling the full weight of these questions, Daniel reached out to his old friend Evelyn, who had just celebrated her 60th birthday. They met at a quiet cafe, and as they sipped their coffee, Daniel confessed his growing sense of unease. Evelyn listened with total understanding, her eyes reflecting both wisdom and empathy. She smiled gently and said, "You're not alone, Daniel. When I turned 60, I started hearing the same stories from friends and neighbors, stories of things they wished they'd done differently." Sensing just how much Daniel needed guidance, Evelyn offered to share the most common regrets she and her peers had faced, along with the lessons she'd learned along the way. "Maybe," she said, her voice full of hope, "my hindsight can help you find your way forward before it's too late." Evelyn leaned in, her voice gentle but crystal clear. "The first regret I hear most often," she began, "is not spending enough time with loved ones. People don't remember the overtime they worked. They remember the missed birthdays, the unspoken words, and the simple, quiet moments they let slip by. I lost touch with my sister for years over something so small, and I just wish I'd reached out sooner." She paused for a moment, then continued, "The second is not pursuing their true passions. So many of us put our dreams on hold, always thinking we'll get to them someday. I always wanted to paint, but I let work and fear get in the way for decades." Evelyn's eyes softened as she shared the next one. "Another big regret is holding on to grudges. The weight of old anger keeps us from healing and moving forward. It hurts us more than anyone else. And finally," she said, "people regret being afraid to take risks, staying in their comfort zone instead of trying something new." She shared stories of friends who wished they'd traveled the world, started that small business, or simply said, "I love you," more often. As Daniel listened, he saw his own life reflected perfectly in her words. And in that moment, his fear finally turned into clarity. He didn't want to wait until it was too late to live the life he wanted. Evelyn reached across the table and took Daniel's hand. "The good news is it's never too late to change course," she said reassuringly. "Start small. Reach out to someone you've lost touch with, even if it's just a simple text message. Make time for what truly matters to you, even if it means saying no to something less important. Let go of old grudges. Sometimes forgiveness is the greatest gift you can give yourself." She smiled warmly. "And don't be afraid to take small steps toward your dreams, no matter how long you've waited. Regret only grows when we do nothing. But every small action you take today can change your story tomorrow." Evelyn encouraged Daniel and anyone listening to reflect and choose just one regret they can prevent, starting right now. Inspired by Evelyn's words, Daniel decided to act. That very evening, he called his brother for the first time in years. Their conversation was a little awkward at first, but it slowly warmed with shared laughter and old memories. The next weekend, Daniel dusted off his old guitar, and for the first time in a long time, music filled his home once again. He started making real time for family dinners, long walks, and honest conversations. Each small step brought a sense of relief and hope, replacing the anxiety that had weighed him down for so long. Daniel felt his world opening up, with possibilities blooming where regret once lived. He realized that change didn't require some grand, dramatic gesture, just the courage to begin. With every action, Daniel reclaimed a piece of himself, proving it's never too late to start living a life with fewer regrets. So, let me ask you again, what will you wish you'd done differently at 60? The choices you make today will shape the story you tell tomorrow. Take a moment right now to reflect on what truly matters to you, and choose one small action you can take to prevent a future regret. Share your intentions or your own stories in the comments below. Let's inspire each other. And if this story resonated with you, please subscribe for more inspiring journeys toward a life with fewer regrets. Thanks for watching.